Gavin finally did it. He finally signed the bill that basically told law enforcement, you, ICE, you can't wear the masks. If people ask your identity, you must present your identity. You must do what all law enforcement does. You must respect the rights of the people and communities that you are operating in. You must. And if not, we in the state of California will arrest you for a misdemeanor. The reason for that is not because California is necessarily doing this, because the Justice Department is failing in its primary function. There is a law, 18 U.S.C. 242. I've talked about it many times. Deprivation of rights under color of law. That is a law that is designed to actually create the legal teeth that forces federal law enforcement to stay inside of the four corners of the Constitution. Our Justice Department is not applying that to federal law enforcement, particularly ICE officers. It has been allowing them to get away with wearing masks, depriving people of their rights like habeas corpus and other things like that, due process rights, grabbing people and detaining them for extended periods of time without allowing them to have access to counsel. Things like that cause problems for ICE. ICE's problems are caused by ICE's failure to stay inside of the four corners of the Constitution and not paying attention to the central principle that guides all law enforcement: to protect and serve. To protect and serve is not just simply a philosophy. It is not just a bunch of words. It's not a marketing slogan. If you do not protect and serve as law enforcement, because law enforcement has unspeakable power, it can do unbelievable things to people. But what stops law enforcement from doing that is to understand that the moment that you do that, the moment that you do things that violates the public trust, you as law enforcement, your job just becomes 1,000 times harder. People stop trusting you. People start doing things that interfere with your ability to be an effective cop, and places your fellow officers sometimes in greater danger, because people stop trusting you and people start fearing law enforcement. That's why law enforcement, almost all your local cops, are protect and serve, because they have to win your trust. And they do that by following the Constitution. And by ordering, and by the state of California saying, listen, you are going to protect and serve. If you're going to operate within the state of California, you are going to not wear masks, because wearing a mask distances yourself from the people of whom you're supposed to protect and serve. Not showing ID, going after people in ways, raiding in certain ways that make people not trust you, is detrimental to public safety. It is detrimental to your job as law enforcement. And since the federal government, under 18 U.S.C. 242, deprivation of rights under color of law, is not being enforced, which would force ICE to follow the Constitution and not deprive those rights of the Constitution, it creates the crisis that ICE is in. And that's why I'm very thankful that Gavin signed that law, because that law forces ICE to live to the standard of protecting and serving. If it cannot protect and serve, then it will create problems. It creates the problems that ICE has, and can make matters worse. The more law enforcement becomes more and more distant to the population of which it serves, the more impossible the job becomes. So like, share, subscribe, and let's debate. about what exactly it truly means to protect and serve. What does it truly mean for law enforcement to stay inside of the four corners of the Constitution? Are we allowing, in this country, federal law enforcement to violate 18 U.S.C. 242, deprivation of rights under color of law? And then what should you do? Which is, to me, what California is doing, is saying, no, you must you must stay inside of the four corners of the Constitution. So, like, share, subscribe, let's debate.